racing weekend. Today we're at Brazil for round 3 as we're loading in right now into a qualifying. Let's see what lap times our drivers can set today. As you remember, last race was a pretty exciting race. We had Fishy spin on the last lap after leading the entire race and ending up in P3 or P4, even out of the podium positions, while the Racing Points made an amazing comeback and finished both a 1-2 finish. I mean, Abu Dhabi normal is a pretty boring circuit, but nevertheless, that last race was amazing. Very well done. Now, as we wait for the drivers to load in, as we start. Wait, there's no qualifying? That is interesting. So it seems like they decided to turn off qualifying. What is this? I'm gonna have a quick look at this. All decided to go and no qualifying and instantly going for the race itself, unless I missed the qualifying and had to reset, and these are the final qualifying positions. But it looks like everyone is on the soft, so I'm guessing they already did qualifying. Alright, as the formation lap is ending, I'll put on quick spectator things. Let's see. Little intervals, details. Let's put tires, telemetry. We don't need that. We don't need that. And a track map. Right, there we go. As the Brazilian Grand Prix is about to start, lights is going out. 4 lights, 5 lights, and away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix as Disco Stu heads very well into turn 1 in front of everyone. Let's see if there's any big spin or crash that's gonna happen. Oh, and there's some front wing damage. Someone had contact and the Ferrari went wide into the turn. It looks like Fishy is not looking as good as last race, as we got both Ferraris in the top 5. Right now it's pretty calm start, very respectful between all drivers, and the Williams spun. Day Miles has spun and he took out the McLaren in its own. Oh no, that's terrible. So the Williams spun and it took out Leroy with him. Oh, Leroy's not gonna be happy with that one for sure. Very disappointing, as in the first lap they're already so far behind. As Disco is still in front and leading, with Cam behind in Ozone Zero, which actually he just joined a new clan, so congratulations to him. And we got Lazy the Twig in 4th place. Very good stuff from him. We're gonna go on board right now with the Renault driver. Already out of VRS, that's kind of interesting. As Fishy overtakes him in the straight, and that is 4th position for Fishy, as Disco finishes the first lap of this Brazilian Grand Prix. Now, oh, and it was Joe most likely that got wing damage right at the start, and got Leroy with a 5-second penalty for speeding. Very unnecessary, but maybe he just decided to go for it, or maybe out of desperation to gain more time. As we're now slowly, and Disco actually lost it and made the Ferrari lose his front end plate. Disco lost the rear end and hit the side of Cam and making him lose his right end plate, so that is going to be a big performance and a high downforce. Well, not a high downforce, but a very technical track, if you don't want to call it. So he's already in a disadvantage in the first 2 laps. Is he going to pit for a new front wing, or is he going to stay out and fight on? But as you can see, he's actually building quite a big gap, which is actually very interesting. And Disco, never mind, is gaining back those time as Ozone goes into the grass and lets Fishy by. Fishy having an amazing start to this race as we're on board with him. Right now, are they? No, they're not going to the pits. We're going to go for Peril right next to Twig as he actually drops down. Side by side. It's a beautiful cam. Twig on the inside hugging it, and now in the outside for the next set of corners. And Peril confirms that P5. Very well done. Now he's gonna go on board with Disco. Is he gonna make a move downside? Oh, into the grass. Is he gonna? Oh no! And actually, Cam forces him wide. And Fishy gets a run out of that because he forced Disco wide, so he got a very bad run. Fishy hanging back. Right now, it's looking very good for the Italian manufacturers, as we got an Alfa Romeo in 2nd place and the Ferraris in 1st and 3rd place right now, with the Red Bull of 0 in 4th. The both racing points in P5 and P6. We got the Haas of Gaming, which was doing actually quite. Oh, and oh, it's beautiful barreling right there. I actually missed it. But as we got a Blazed by Gaming in 7th in the Haas, Lazy dropping all the way down in 8th in the Renault. He got feared by Gaming, the other Haas driver. Daily Miles, the only William driver. Bazooka Joe, the only Mercedes driver in this race. And Leroy, the other only McLaren driver in this race. As they're actually going side by side into turn 1. Who's going to keep P2? Is Disco going to fight for it? No, he's going to let Fishy by. But he's still hanging on. Is he going to be able to get him with the DRS afterwards? Let's see how it goes on from Ozone's perspective as the flap opens, and Cam actually pulling away. So Cam is looking very well with that damage right there. Oh, and actually these two are side by side, just starting their 4th lap. Is Leroy gonna fight for a position? Going around the outside, beautiful stuff. Is he gonna be able to hit it? Oh, side by side. And he manages to stick it. Beautiful move from Leroy. And never mind, the Mercedes still fighting back. And he gives... Ooh, and he actually went wide. That's very dangerous. He almost put himself into the wall. But Leroy manages to take that P11, but he's very far ahead from the leaders, which is something you never want to be from. As actually, it's now a 1-2 for Ferrari as Disco is starting to fall back with a 1 second gap from Fishy. Now Fishy is gonna fight for that P1, of course, overtaking. I don't expect much bothering, of course. Fishy has a better front wing and is way quicker than Cam. We don't want to see a 2019 remake of what happened when both Ferraris crashed. And oh my god! Q-tip, a double overtake into turn 1. That is the beauty of turn 1 into this race. It allows for some beautiful overtaking. As right now, Ozone goes into the inside for turn 4. He manages to stick and gains P3. And Disco actually earned. Oh my god, Q-tip hit the wall. And Disco has retired. Disco has retired. It looked like some heavy contact. Let's see what happens from Daymal's perspective. And oh my god, that is Disco's race over. And it's a virtual safety car right now. I don't know what happened. Ozone was in front. I think someone got a little bit of oversteer and slammed Disco into the wall. I think it's just Q-tip getting a very bad exit and slamming him into the wall. We're not gonna lie. Oh, I'm so poor. He was in P1 and is all the way into P12, of course, retiring from the race. He's not gonna be happy with that one. Of course, he's gonna have a chat with Q-tip. But now, the incident is over. This is great stuff for Leroy and Joe as they can... oh, actually, no, it's not a safety car. My bad. It's a virtual safety car, so never mind. As we get some very hard words in the chat right now, but from the drivers you're not expecting. As TSR Para goes into P3. So you overtake Blazed by Gaming for the last step on the podium. As right now it's a 3-way battle for P3. As both Ferraris are pulling away. We've got this beautiful camera work. Oh, the outside. Is he gonna stick it? He will. And now Blazed is into P3. And as both actually racing points are fighting, and it's a yellow flag in sector 2. What happened? And Para lost it. It looked like he spun. it looked like he maybe spun or lost the rear end. So now he's all the way on P7 after fighting for P3 just a couple of seconds ago. So see how quickly things can change in races. It's actually insane. As of now, we're finishing the 6th lap of the Brazilian GP, going to the 7th. Both Ferraris miles ahead. Ferraris are looking very strong for the FARL league. As you got Lazy right in front of Para. Is he gonna be able to keep that P6? Or is Para gonna gain it back into this straight as we go on board with Para? Opening the flap for the DRS. Is he gonna go inside, outside? He's going into the inside. Who is gonna keep P6 right now? As Lazy decides to give the position to Para, actually going quite slow through these analysis. But is Lazy gonna fight back for turn 4? No, he won't. So Para looks like he gained that P6. As we got now Q-Tip P4, Ozone P5, and Blazed into P3, actually catching up to the Ferraris. So that's great stuff. Great stuff right there. Yeah, so right now we're settled, you know, not a lot of action going on. Just drivers just getting into the rhythm, into their pace. They're gonna keep holding for the rest of this race. Of course, very little drivers, got 11 drivers, as 2 drivers actually couldn't manage to get into the race due to connection issues or because of Codemasters, very bad servers. Right now, Blazed actually, will he get DRS? No, he doesn't get DRS, even though he's in the 2nd of the Ferrari. But is he going to be able to get it for the next race? As Q-Tip sits at 11.6, fastest lap of the race so far. So he is pushing. He wants to get higher points. And as Ozone actually gets a penalty, and he is in the DRS now of Q-Tip and Blazed in the DRS of the Ferrari of only Cam, since Fishy is actually pulling away. Will Fishy this time manage to stay together and not spin and keep a dominant performance? As for now, there's actually a quite big gap from P7 all the way P1, so every driver is very separated. Right now we're just going to focus in the P3, P2, P4 drivers, which are the closest, of course. So we're just going to keep quiet and let them race. Ooh, and the Red Bull seemed like he went into the grass. That's gonna lose a lot of time for him. You never want to go into the grass. Right there, and yes, he opens the DRS flap. Is he gonna pull a move down the inside? He will not. He's gonna stay behind. So he might attack this next straight. You never know. He's very close to the Ferrari right now. And actually, fair play to Cam. He's keeping a quite fast pace. And that is a yellow sector. Leroy has retired. What happened? Oh! It seemed like he spun and hit the wall. And that is Leroy out of this race. My God. It looks like he spun and hit the wall. So now Joe is into P10. Now go back to the fight. Oh, that's very bad. Oh, that's gutting for Leroy. Of course, terrible weekend. He started quite well in the midfield. Dropped instantly after contact and damage. And now he's out of the race, putting an end to his misery. As now actual Q-Tip is catching up to Blazed, and Blazed is catching up to Cam, as Fish is now 3 seconds ahead of both out of these 3 drivers, which is insane to see someone go that fast. But now is Blazed gonna go? No, and actually Cam pits, so that puts Blazed into P2 and Q-Tip into P3. So right now we're gonna start seeing the pit stops. Is Cam gonna pit for a new front wing? That is the thing. He will. So he is gonna lose time. He's actually going into the hards as they finish the front wing. Here he goes, and he's still gonna be P8. Okay, so he's most likely gonna come out into P9. The Merc is way too far ahead, too far behind. So yeah, that's Cam into P9 after front wing change and new tires. He's gonna go to the end with those hard tires, of course. He's got Blaze now catching up to Fishy, gaining loss like 6/10 in 1 lap. So Blaze is definitely a contender for the win of this race. if he manages to pull out all the stops. As we got no Para fighting back into P5, right behind, right in front is Ozone. So we might keep an eye on these two, and these two of course. Racing Point looking very quick this race, of course having a couple of mistakes here and there, but their race pace by itself is quite quick. Is anyone gonna pit? No, they're not. So Cam actually decides to pit earlier. Is Para gonna go down the inside? He will go down the inside, and he manages to stick the move, and never mind, Ozone fights back. Beautiful racing here between these two drivers. Who's gonna get the DRS for the straight? It's gonna be Para, so he's definitely gonna gain that P4, as now it's a 3-4 for Racing Point. But is Ozone gonna fight back? He will, and almost contact, but Para manages to avoid, and he is now up into P4, as we got these two drivers right here, the Racing Point and the Haas, fighting for P2. Are they gonna pit early like Cam did for a hard set of tires, or are they gonna go late and pit for mediums? It's got this beautiful actually helicopter camera work. I love this camera angle. It looks so good. It shows you the entire track. And let's see, will Q-Tip overtake Blazed into this straight? You got a sector 2 yellow flag. What happened? Oh, and it feared by gaming spun. So we're gonna go back to him right now. And Blazed manages to overtake Q-Tip into turn 1. He's gonna keep the position, but is Q-Tip gonna fight back into the straight? It looked like feared spun, maybe hit the curb too hard and made his car go round and round. That drops him all the way down to P9. So that's one driver down in Cam's list. As actually Q-Tip goes side by side. What happened? And Q-Tip, oh my god! Oh, that's terrible for Q-Tip. So what happened, I think, was side by side they touched wheels. That settled Q-Tip's car and made him spin. Well, not spin, but lose his rear end. Is now all the way down P5 after fighting for P2. He's not going to be happy with that one. So right now he's behind his teammate, which was miles behind him. So that's very unfortunate for the Racing Point driver, as now he has sort of overheated tires, going very slow. As we got now Lazy catching up. So he's a contender for this top 5, definitely. But let's see if he manages to keep it together and not get disqualified for this race. As now Feared pits for a set of hards. So yeah, that's pretty good, big gaps between each drivers. So I think we're gonna keep on board with Ozone, because he's the closest and the only driver in having DRS in this race right now. Oh, he's dropping back massively in that straight. Even with DRS, he's losing time, so you can tell he's running a pretty high downforce setup. So, or he even got a bad exit, as now Day Miles pits for, I think it will look like hards, as Cam is now up into P7. And you know, he pitted for mediums, so he's definitely going to the end with those mediums in the William driver. Has been a pretty not exciting race. It's been pretty boring. Fishy, of course, with a huge gap in front of everyone. He's about to lap a Haas car. Yeah, so it's settling now. Ozone's struggling to keep into that DRS second of Para. So I'll just lay back and see what happens, because right now it's staying very calm. We're gonna go into some spectator cams and see other drivers cruising or just driving. around the Interlagos track. Oh, this beautiful camera work and that beautiful helmet, the green black helmet. You gotta love that helmet. Looks nice. Now we go into Blazes, crossing the line into this 15 lap. As Ozone is actually struggling to keep up in the straights, but gaining massive amounts of time in the corners. To be fair, these guys are going, I mean, I'm not very sure how long you're supposed to go with the softs, but it looks like they're starting to struggle. Let's go on board with Blaze now, as he seems like a quick driver, and he's not keeping up with Fishy, so Fishy is miles ahead into this lead. So I'm surprised if he doesn't win this Brazilian Grand Prix. If he does, it's gonna be redemption for last race, where he had a very sad spin. In the last lap. Of course, the softs were gone and dusted, and he had no grip and spun. As now we go into a pit stop. Who is gonna go ahead? Who's gonna manage to gain the advantage as both cars pit? Going to soft tires. No, actually, are those softs or mediums? It looked like soft. Never mind, he's on mediums. Okay. As now Laser's up into P4, of course, gonna lose that this lap most likely, as he will pit for medium tires. And now the gap is huge. Oh my god. Para gained over over 2 seconds in the pit stop phase. That is insane. As now we got Cam in the not preferred strategy with the hards. Of course, they're very slow but very consistent. I doubt he will catch up to Ozone. Of course, he's on older tires, but they are heated and working well. But as Zero's tires are cold and still need 1 or 2 laps to settle. So will Cam take chance of this opportunity and overtake him, or no? As he is actually losing a lot of time. He lost 2/10 in a couple of corners. So yeah, right now the race is looking pretty set, as Fishy is now into still out with the softs. It's quite interesting, as it looks like Q-Tip is pitting now for a set of mediums. As now actually we might see some close battles between Q-Tip and Cam, which is something I want to see, because right now it's been a very boring race. We're gonna keep on board with Q-Tip for a couple of laps, since they're the only ones giving us a slight bit of action so far. Is Q-Tip gonna overtake Cam into Ferradura? Going into the grass out wide, and no! He goes very wide, losing a lot of time. I don't know if he understeered and went wide, or if he got pushed and forced off of the track by Cam. Of course, he's gonna gain a lot of time through these corners because he's in a softer compound of tire. So he might do a move next lap, or even this lap if he manages to. Never mind, he won't get 2/10 in one corner, but he will next lap for sure overtake Cam. As now Blazed is pitting as well with Fishy and Lazy all into the pit. Of course, gonna go back to their respective positions. Lazy into P7, as Q-Tip is down into P6, Cam at P5, Ozone P4, Para P3, Blazed P2, and Fishy P1 by 4.7 seconds ahead. This dude he's quick. He's gaining so much time. You noticed he did a lot of practice for this track. As now actually TSR is closing in into Blazed. and he's in the DRS zone, so that is gonna keep an eye. I'm gonna keep an eye on that battle, because that is for P2, the second position in the podium. I mean, that's kind of obvious, P2. So when he actually is out of DRS, will he? Oh, he's 800ths of a second out of the DRS. Will he manage to get it? No, he won't. Okay, so Pera won't get DRS for this straight, but Q-Tip will. He is about to overtake Cam. He's going to the outside. Bold move. Is he going to force him down the inside? No. Oh my God, Cam lost so much time in that straight, and Q-Tip is up into P5. With TSR to see if he will push extra hard to gain that DRS through the main straight, pit straight, and the second straight. Of course, he's in the second gap needed for the DRS, and it looks like he will get it if he gets a good exit out of this corner. Yes, he will get DRS. Alright, so we might see some overtaking soon. As Fishy is 6 seconds ahead of Blazed. That's insane. If Fishy borrows it again, he's gonna be very, very mad with that one. As Para gains a 3-second time penalty for, going very deep into that chicane. Deserved in my opinion, so yeah. Well, he's actually not gaining too much time in the straights, but I think he's just gonna stay behind Blazed for a good while. And then let's see if he will have the chance to overtake in any moment. As now TSR has gained massive amounts this lap. Is he? He's way closer, but it looks like he's losing time. No, he's not actually. Going through the pit straight, gaining heaps of time. Of course, not enough to overtake into the Senaises, but is he gonna have a close enough gap to overtake into the upcoming corner? He will not, so he's staying behind 1/10 between these two drivers. So yeah, that's definitely a very close battle for P2, as Machine is, my God, 6 seconds ahead, like I mentioned before. I don't know how he's so quick, but he should be proud of that performance if he manages to win and not bottle it. But so far it has been a pretty successful weekend for Fishy. It's actually Q-Tip. Oh, and Daymouse has DNF'd. What happened? Daymouse is out of this race. What happened? Oh, I think he DNF'd the same place where I think it was Disco that DNF'd, but it was by himself this time. And Ozone is actually into the pits. What happened? Why is he pitting? Did he get baited into the pits? Oh my God, he actually did. He actually got baited into the pits. Or is he doing a two-stop strategy? If he got baited into the pits, that's very embarrassing. I got a yellow sector, but I don't see any incidents. His Lazy is now into P. Oh, never mind. These two are battling for P6. Let's see who is in front. Okay, Lazy is in front so far. But Ozone, of course, in the soft tires, he is definitely gonna overtake Lazy. So yeah, let's keep an eye on them through the DRS zones. Is Para gonna overtake Blaze this straight? He's been hanging back for a long while, and Blaze does not look like he got a good exit out of there. Is he gonna be able to overtake? Oh, he's gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining. Will he go down the inside? No, he's outside. As Blaze goes defensive, side by side into the center assist. Blaze, they touch wheels, and Blaze manages to keep it in front as they touch wheels again. Very hectic and not safe driving between these two as they're heading into turn 4, and who will keep it ahead? Oh, this is beautiful racing as it looks like it's actually no one. I think it's Para gonna they've been battling for 1, 2, 3, 4, and Para has spun. Contact made him spin. They were side by side by God knows how long, and it all came down, and Para has spun after contact with Blaze. So that puts Q-Tip into P3. A very good result for Racing Point so far. I mean, of course, 3-4, but this could have been a 2-4 if it weren't by the contact we just witnessed. Is actually Ozone overtook Lazy for P6. I was actually going to go on board with the race leader. We haven't been on board with him for a long while, so we're just going to stay with him for the rest of the lap. Yeah, so this race is staying pretty quiet right now. Nothing too exciting happening. Every driver has set into their own pace and they're just traveling, waiting to finish this Grand Prix. Fish is now almost 8 seconds ahead of Blaze. Insane from him. Insane. Sorry for the cameras, I'm just inviting people to the party for interviews. Yeah, as you go back on board, like I said, nothing exciting happening. So we're just gonna stay here as Fishy is gonna approach a back marker. I'm really hoping for a safety car, to be honest. I want to see some action. I'm bored here. I mean, there's nothing really I can commentate. Every drive is just cruising. I already mentioned everything from last race. I'm just seeing if anyone wants to join for an interview. As now, I mean, I think everyone is in their desired position for the end of the race. It's yeah, I think this is how the race is gonna finish. I mean, nothing too exciting going on. Everyone has a 4 or more second gap from each other now. It's insane. I think this is everyone in their desired and deserved positions, as Feared let the racing point by. And surprisingly, Ozone is actually not gaining time on Cam, even if he is on the softs and Cam is on the hard tires. As Q-Tip is finally gaining some time on Blaze, I pray to God that he gets in the second gap and we'll see some overtaking, because this is very boring right now. Oh, and we got a yellow flag. What happened? Nothing exciting. Oh my god. I got excited for a second. Just disappointing. It looks like he's gonna keep out a 2.6 second gap, pretty much. Nothing exciting. It's a very boring race. I mean, last race was fucking my bad. Was very, very good. Yeah, I don't know. This race has just died off. A lot of laps with no action whatsoever. 5 remaining laps in this Grand Prix, and we're finally as actually Q-Tip is gaining. Is he gonna push with every single fiber in his body to catch Blaze in this dying laps of the Brazilian Grand Prix? As now Q-Tip is gaining massively. Oh, Blazed is going so slow. Please give us some action for the stream. Has been pretty boring so far. The first 10 laps were pretty well. The 15th lap, around 15th lap was going quite well as well. 20th lap, some action here and there, and ever since this has been a not exciting race. Oh my god. Please Q-Tip, push and gain that P2 as 3 more laps of this Grand Prix and we're over. As Cam left the session, has he lagged? Yo, that means 0. He can push massively and gain time on him while his AI is driving. Oh my god. Oh my god. Some action finally. Wait, is Ozone gonna put? I think Ozone's gonna push very hard and gain as much time as he can, before Cam joins back, because his internet is very notorious for letting him down mid-race. Is Zero gonna take opportunity and advantage of what's going on right now and push to overtake Cam? As now we're on board with Q-Tip. Nothing exciting going on. Blaze needs to make a mistake, or else I don't think Q-Tip is gonna manage to catch him. But it's now 1 second and 4/10. Oh, this might get very spicy, as now Ozone is 2.7 seconds. So now it's suddenly getting exciting. Finally, I got my adrenaline back up, my interest is back, and it looks like Blazed is struggling on those old mediums. Of course, Q-Tip on older tires, but he seems like he's coping better. 2 more laps remaining. Is Q-Tip gonna waste every single bit of his ERS? As he actually is quite low, as you can see in his dashboard. He's around at 15%. As Cam joined back, but it's too late. Ozone overtakes Cam for P5, and Cam is not gonna be happy with that one. But is he gonna manage to get a handle of his driving, of his AI car, and overtake back Ozone, or is it too late? It looks like it's too late, as no Q-Tip is less than almost a second away from Blazed. Please mates, please get some DRS, as now Fishy is approaching the start finish line, and 1 more lap of the Interlagos Grand Prix, and that is it, and we're over. Has Cam joined back? He has. Oh, he's not gonna be happy with that one. As now we're gonna be on board with Q-Tip for the rest of this race. Is he gonna get some DRS? Oh, he's so close, 1.1 seconds. It looks like Blazed pulled out his finger and is now pushing, of course, overtake in the straight, going down to none to gain as much ERS as possible. It looks like Q-Tip is gonna remain a P3 unless there's some very big mistake from Blaze and giving him the DRS. Of course, he's now in the DRS 8/10. I'm sure if we see a Hamilton Gasly at the end, this is gonna be so exciting. Fishy, 9 seconds ahead. He might get redemption. You never know. He might spin like he did into the last couple of corners. You never know, because this is Formula 1. is now Fishy approaching one of the last corners, and as Q-Tip is now emblazed bum, on his ass pretty much, as he's following him. But now we're with Fishy, as Fishy wins the Interlagos Grand Prix, but that's not over. Is Q-Tip gonna, oh, so close, but he won't be able to get P2 unless penalties do the job, and Q-Tip gains P2. Q-Tip has managed to get on the second step of the podium, dropping Blazed, although we're now P3. Fishy wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. Q-Tip is in second place, and Blazed is in the last step of the podium, as CSR is now crossing the line for fourth place. Ozone miraculously overtaking Cam on the dying laps, as he actually disconnects and finishes up in P6. Zero on P5. Lazy the Twig, after having a disappointing race in Abu Dhabi, manages to finish P7 as Fear now crosses the line, of course, being lapped. Lazy into P7, and Joe crossing P8, having a very quiet race. And that is for interviews. That's such an exciting end to the race. Oh my god, finally we needed something like that after having a lot of quiet laps. We finally managed to get some action. Unfortunately, on the end, not at the start or during the entire race, which is what we wanted. Of course, the Brazilian Grand Prix is over, and with it, Fishy gets redemption from Abu Dhabi. Now let's see if any drivers will join for interviews. Hello, Blazed. Hello. So you're the first interviewer, or person getting interviewed for this race. Personally, the starting laps were pretty hectic, and the end of the race was also pretty hectic. Of course, in my opinion, it was a very boring race. Nothing very exciting happening through the middle stages. Every driver was like a 4-second gap from each other. But during the end, Q-Tip was catching up massively towards you, and of course that penalty meant that you would not keep the P2. Anything you want to say? How were you feeling when Q-Tip was gaining heaps of time into the last laps?
I mean, I knew that I know Q-Tip's pace, and I know that it's quick, so I was really expecting him to catch. I was hoping that I could just be quick enough to edge him out for P2, but unfortunately the penalty kind of hindered me, so I did get bumped back into P3, but if I didn't get that penalty, I think I would have kept it.
But the contact you had with both racing points.
Yeah, obviously sorry for the I felt like I left enough space for both times, but you know, I think it was just we were battling so hard and mistakes were just made, and that resulted in them spinning, unfortunately. But there's not much I can do about that. I just hope that, obviously, I know they both had good races themselves, even after the spin. So yeah, it was unfortunate for them, but I'm just glad I managed to keep the position, even if it did mean that one penalty did have to result in spinning out.
Well, thank you for your time, Blaze. I think I'd call that a successful race. And quick thing, how are you looking for next race? Do you think you're strong in the championship, or?
Next week, I think it would be good to score some good points, but I know most people in this league are faster than me, especially Fishy and Q-Tip and drivers like that. So I think I'll just try my best again, see if I can score some points. But yeah, I'm just hoping for the best.
All right, thank you for your time, mate. Have a good one. Now let's go with Lazy. You finally scored some points after a quite disappointing Abu Dhabi race. You finished P7. You were actually into the top 3 at the start of the race, and you dropped down. So how do you feel about the race? Did everything go to plan, strategy-wise, race-wise?
Evening sector, yeah, it was at the start. I had nothing. I had no pace, no grit. I was just dropping. I knew the people around me were coming up from the back of the field had the pace. So I didn't put up too much of a fight. I just wanted to get some good laps in. And then I think about 12, just over 10 laps in on the softs, I started to actually get into a bit of a groove, and I think I was up to 6th at some point. Picked up a couple of penalties which I was quite frustrated about, but I improved on that, and I'm pretty happy with P7. I had a quiet race, so P7 I'm content with. Yeah, I'm happy.
Alright, yeah, you had I'd say boring race pretty much, and 20 laps of just nothing but driving with huge gaps between each drivers. You had I'd say, like you said, quiet race. You kept consistent and finished the P7, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, thank you for your time. Alright, now let's go with Q-Tip. Alright, so you were gaining massive amounts in those last laps, and I was screaming like fuck, gain, and I was expecting a Gasly Hamilton type thing at the end, but quite you're too far. But of course the penalty played in and made you go into P2.
Indeed. Well, I just want to say first off to a massive congratulations to everyone who finished that race. That was not the cleanest of drives from everyone tonight, apart from Fishy, who just dominated the race.
Yeah.
And also big congratulations to him for winning, and also, since we have Twig in here, a solid points result for him. Finally, he deserves it after putting in quite a lot of hard work in. But no, today's result from starting at the back really, I think, showed the championship fight that I really am putting in. You know, we never gave up after the couple of times of contact. But you know, we showed really good pace. You know, we were able to battle our way through the field. The opening lap was a bit hectic, to say the least. I do remember I think I did hit Twig in the opening couple of laps, which I can only apologise for, but I'm glad it didn't ruin his race. But no, it was a good race for us today. P2, I think, isn't necessarily the result we wanted today, because I do feel we had a really strong racing point car tonight. But you know, we gave it our all tonight, and I'm very, very proud of the team. And with Parallax as well, he also had quite a hectic race. But you know, it's another big lot of points for the Racing Point team, and it's looking good for the constructors. Let me reassure you on that.
So last race, you expected podium positions for this race, and you delivered. Are you expecting the same for next track, or you looking for the win?
It would be nice to go one better. To go on to the top step again, where I think we deserve to be tonight. Our car tonight was really quick, but you know, keeping on the podium, you know, I don't think we've finished off the podium yet this season. It's only been a couple of rounds, but if we can keep consistent and if we can keep delivering big points for the team, we're not going to complain at the end of the day, are we?
Oh yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for your time, Q-Tip. Great race. Yeah, let's hope for a double Racing Point podium for next race. All right.
That'll happen.
Yeah. Have a good
Soon,
one.
let me tell you.
Have a good one. All right, and last but not least, Fishy, the man we've been waiting for. Of course, having a very disappointing Abu Dhabi race. Dominating the entire race, dropping down, spinning on last lap, dropping out P4. But this race, you managed to keep it together and finish P1, which is redemption for last race. Anything you want to say?
Also nice to finally at least one other brand new. I mean, everyone behind me is really quick. I think they've just got caught up in battles that I just managed to get through that which is kind of the reason I'm really quick.
Yeah.
But, very happy with the result. Well done, Q-Tip. P2 and Blazed P3.
And quick question, I didn't manage to understand why there was no qualifying this session. Did you just go random or?
No, so there is, in the rules, we have 3 reverse championship order grids in the season, so this was the first.
Okay. Alright, that's pretty much it. Thank you for your time. And now the live stream is about to end. Thank you for everyone who managed to stick around and see the 3rd round of FARL for the Brazilian Grand Prix. I'll see you guys next week for round 4. Have a good one, guys.